Hi. As we go through life, we start to see what truly matters. Happiness isn't about having more. It's about letting go of what holds us back and focusing on what brings us joy. By making simple, intentional changes, we can create a life that feels lighter and more meaningful. Here are 15 ways to do just that and find happiness and joy in our lives. Tip number 1 would be to simplify your life. Declutter your possessions and simplify your living space. A cluttered environment often leads to a cluttered mind. Take the time to sort through your belongings and let go of the items that no longer serve a purpose. A minimalist space can bring clarity, reduce stress, and make room for things that truly matter. I know for myself, I started minimalism about 15 years ago, got rid of probably 80% of my items that I had. You know what? It made my life so much easier. You're not always moving stuff around and sorting through stuff trying to find something. You know exactly where everything is. The other thing I did is I tried Courtney Carver's Project 333, which is where you use 33 items of clothing for 3 months, and that's all you use. And that's clothing, shoes, and accessories. That doesn't include like underwear or socks. I found it really easy, and it made life so much simpler. Tip number 2 would be to stop making payments on things like new cars, excessive credit card purchases, or fast food. Financial stress can be a major source of unhappiness. Avoid unnecessary expenses like upgrading to a new car or eating out all the time. Learn to focus within your means, saving for the future and spending money on things that you genuinely value in your life. I know for myself, probably about 20 years ago, I had credit card debt, I had car payments. So I started paying off all of my credit cards, and I would only put on my credit cards what I could afford to pay off each month. The same with my cars. When I finally got my one car paid off, I kept it for another 3 years and saved up the money to buy my next car cash, and which actually ended up being so much cheaper. And I had no monthly payments after that. And about 4 years ago, when I was thinking about retiring fully for the second time, I bought a brand new car. I bought a 2020 Subaru Outback, which is an awesome car, great clearance, great pickup, has all the bells and whistles on it. And so far I've only got 77,000 kilometers on it, so it should last me another 10 years. Tip number 3 would be to strengthen meaningful relationships. Spend time with loved ones, reconnect with old friends, and nurture relationships that uplift you. Show appreciation to the people who matter the most in your life. Let go of toxic, draining connections and focus on building deep, supportive, and mutually beneficial relationships. So for myself, that's what I ended up doing when I retired 3 years ago. That was the reason I wanted to move back home. I'd lived out in Alberta for 20 years, and my family and all my friends live back here in Eastern Ontario and Quebec. So I figured it's time to, go back and build those relationships back up since I was basically out west by myself. Tip number 4 would be to pursue work or a side hustle that aligns with your passions and values. Work becomes more fulfilling when it reflects who you are and what you love. Seek opportunities that excite and inspire you, whether that be through a job change, a creative project, or a side hustle. Passion-driven work adds a sense of purpose to your daily life. I know for myself, I got lucky when I was young. I was able to get a full-time job that I was able to work at for 25 years, get a great pension and all that, and retired at 49. Within 6 months, I got bored and went back to work and worked another 7 years. So tip number 5 kind of goes along the same lines. It's reassess your career and retire early if that's possible. Try taking a step back and evaluate your career's impact on your overall happiness. If it's causing unnecessary stress, consider downsizing your responsibilities or retiring early to focus on your well-being. A simpler, less demanding life can provide more time for joy and personal fulfillment. Tip number 6 would be to reassess your priorities and focus on what brings joy to your life. Regularly, take stock of your life to ensure your time and energy are aligned with what makes you happy. Let go of obligations or routines that no longer serve you. Whether it's spending time with loved ones, pursuing hobbies, or exploring new interests, prioritize the activities that truly bring you joy. I guess the biggest thing is, it depends on what brings you happiness in your life. Is it your job? Is it a hobby? Is it relationships that you have with your family? Tip number 7, focus on experiences over material possessions. Studies have shown that experiences bring more lasting happiness than things. Instead of buying the latest gadgets or trendy items, Invest in activities like traveling, learning new skills, or spending quality time with loved ones. These will create memories that will stay with you forever. I know from my own personal experience, because I was able to pay off my credit cards early and didn't have any car payments, I was able to travel a lot more. I was able to go on like 6 cruises and travel to different places in Central America, the United States. I've driven across Canada 3 times now. And you know what? I enjoy going to concerts. I've probably been to 50 or 60 concerts in the last 25 years, and probably 100 sporting events. But nowadays they're way too expensive to go to. Tip number 8 would be mindset and perspective. Let go of the need for perfection and embrace imperfection. Perfectionism can be exhausting and unattainable. Focus on doing your best while accepting that mistakes are part of the journey. Celebrate progress, no matter how small, and remember that flaws often make life more authentic and beautiful. The other thing is, everybody's different. If you got a different body shape, I have no hair, but I'm not going to go get hair transplants put in. No need. I am who I am. I'm Mark. And everybody needs to learn to be themselves. Everybody's unique. Everybody has their own perspective on life. Just be yourself. So, tip number 9 would be stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison robs you of joy. Instead of measuring your worth by someone else's achievements, focus on your unique strengths and progress you've made. Celebrate your individuality and remember that everyone's path is different. Tip number 10, embrace change instead of fearing it. Change is inevitable, and resisting it only creates stress. Look at change as an opportunity for growth, learning, and new beginnings. Remind yourself that some of the best things in life come from stepping out of your comfort zone. We all have big changes in our lives, whether it be your jobs or relationships. But that's the way you grow. Tip number 11, stop keeping grudges and forgive more easily. Holding on to resentment only hurts you. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or condoning, but it allows you to move forward without the weight of anger or bitterness. Free yourself from the burden and focus on living a lighter, happier life. We all go through that. Somebody's going to make you mad one day and, you talk about it forever. I learned when I was younger to stop worrying about the past. You know what? It happened, and you know what? It may have been a bad thing, but my life went on, and that's all you can really do. If you don't, you're just going to live your life always being, feeling resentful towards somebody or something. Tip number 12 would be stop worrying about things that are out of your control. Worrying about things you can't influence wastes energy and clouds your happiness. Instead, redirect that energy to areas where you can make a difference, like your own actions, mindset, and relationships. Tip number 13 would be your self-care and wellness. Learn to say no without guilt. Saying yes to everything can lead to burnout and resentment. By setting boundaries, you can create space for things that truly matter to you. Saying no is just an act of self-respect and allows you to protect your time, energy, and well-being. We all get that. People phone you weeks in advance. Oh, can you want to go do this on Friday night? Of course, sure. But then that Friday night comes and you're tired from a full week of work and you just don't want to go out. You should have thought about this ahead of time, but when they asked you, it sounded like such a great idea. But tip number 14 would be to spend more time outdoors and connect with nature. Nature has a way of calming the mind and rejuvenating the soul. Take walks in the park, hike in the woods, or simply sit outside and enjoy the fresh air. Being in nature can help you feel more grounded and present. I remember reading a study years ago about walking for, half an hour a day and how it relieves your stress. I've always walked a lot and hiked and mountain climbed and things like that. Walking every day, it's a great stress reliever. It gives you time to just think, and think about the good things in your life. Tip number 15 would be having more me time. Prioritize yourself by carving out moments for relaxation and reflection, whether it's reading, meditating, or enjoying a hobby, or simply sitting quietly. Me time is essential for recharging and maintaining balance in your life. I guess for myself, the one thing I've ended up doing for more me time was I started playing guitar when I reached about 40. I became pretty good. And it was enjoyable. I'm not going to sit there and play in front of people, but I enjoy doing it for myself. And it's me time. And I usually spend about a half an hour to an hour a day reading. It's just something I enjoy, and I always have. And it gives me just time to just get everything else out of my mind and just think about what's on the page, and that's it. So just remember, happiness doesn't come from big overnight changes. It's the little things we adjust over time that make the biggest difference. By focusing on what truly matters and letting go of what doesn't, you can create a life that feels more balanced, joyful, and fulfilling. I guess the biggest thing I could tell you to take away from this is start with a few of these ideas and watch how even the smallest shifts can bring more happiness into your life. Just remember, it's never too late to make changes that lead to a brighter tomorrow. So what changes have you been able to make in your life to make your life simpler? I'd love to hear in the comments what you've done to make things easier for yourself. I'd like to thank everybody again for joining us here on My Mark on Life, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.